Hello and welcome. In this video, I will introduce you to JavaScript. JavaScript is one of the three languages that a web developer must learn. What is JavaScript? JavaScript is a programming language that adds interactivity to your website. The interactivity can be when a button is pressed or when data is entered into a form. It can even be animations. So when you go to a website, anytime you notice some interaction or where you have to press a button, maybe complete a form, those interactions are made possible by JavaScript. When JavaScript is applied to an HTML document, it makes the document dynamic and it adds interactivity to the website. JavaScript was invented by Brendan Eich, who is the co-founder of the Mozilla Corporation, which also is responsible for the Firefox web browser. JavaScript is not Java. There is a completely separate language, programming language called Java. So they are both different in design and other aspects as well. JavaScript is one of the three languages all web developers must learn. The other two languages are HTML and CSS. Another key distinct feature of JavaScript is that JavaScript is case sensitive. So if you declare something with a lowercase and later on try to access that with an uppercase, it will not work because they are two separate things. It treats cases separately. So uppercase and lowercase are two different things in JavaScript. So when you're writing JavaScript code, you need to be careful with your cases. If you're using lowercase to define something, stick to lowercase. So that's it for this introduction to JavaScript. Thank you and bye for now. Hello and welcome. In this video, I'll be showing you where to place JavaScript. There are two main places you can place JavaScript. Internally, that means inside the HTML document. So when you are adding JavaScript internally, you have to use a script tag or script element to add JavaScript to an HTML document internally. You can also add JavaScript externally via an external JavaScript file that has got a .js file extension. So any file externally from the HTML document with a .js file extension is known as the external JavaScript, and you can reference that from your HTML document using a script tag. So let me show you an example of how both works. You can use JavaScript to change the content of an HTML document. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change the text here for the heading using JavaScript. So what I'm going to do, just before the closing body tag, I'm going to add a script tag. And the way you do that, you just type in script and put the closing, and it automatically gives you an opening and closing script element. So I'm just going to tab, and in between the script element, I'm going to add some values. What I'm going to do, I'm going to create a variable. Basically is a container that you can use to store values in. So I'm going to create, and the way you do that, you start with the word var. So to define a variable, you type in var. That defines a variable. Then you give the variable a name. I'm going to call my variable my heading This will be the name of my variable, and I have to give it a value. So the value I'm going to give is going to be document dot query selector which is this here, document the query selector. This query selector is a method that returns the first element that matches a specified CSS selector in the document. So I need to give it a CSS selector. So single quote, I'll type in H1. H1 is going to be the selector. So this is the name of my variable, and I'm using the document dot query selector, which is a method in JavaScript. And what this is saying is that it's going to look for this element, which is an H1 element, which is this one here, and I'm going to change the text. So now that I've defined the variable, all I need to do is call the variable by its name, which is this, and I'm going to add a property, an element property called text content, which is this one here. This will enable me to change the content of this H1 element. So now I need to specify what content I want to change it to. I'm going to change it to, say, just make it simple. I'll just say be kind, and that'll be it. And I'll save the document. If I refresh the page, you can see here it has changed the heading. The original heading is this, and I've used JavaScript here to change it. So this is an example of how you would use JavaScript internally inside an HTML document. In order to use JavaScript externally, you need to have an external JavaScript file. I've already got a folder called script, so I'm just going to click on this script folder. I'm going to right click and click on new file, and I'm going to call it myscript.js. Okay, so this is now myscript.js. This will be a JavaScript file. So all I need to do is go to my HTML. I'm just going to grab this. I'm actually going to cut and then paste that inside my script. So this will be my variable, and this will be the content I'm changing it to. So when you are referencing or adding JavaScript to an external file, you don't use a script tag. If you notice here with the HTML, I use script tag, but you don't need that when you are adding JavaScript to an external file. You omit the script. So if I want to reference this JavaScript, I'm going to be referencing it via its name. It's complaining here because I've not done stuff with it. I've declared stuff, but I've not used it. So what I need to do is go back to my HTML and make a reference to that. So in order to reference the JavaScript from my HTML document, I still need the script tag inside the HTML document, and then inside the opening script tag, I need to add the source attribute. The source attribute will tell me where to pick up the file from. All right, and the name of the file is inside my script folder, and the name is called myscript.js. Just by referencing it via its name, it has changed the content of the document. See, the heading has changed. The reason why I've placed the script element near the bottom of the HTML file just before the closing body element is that it enables the HTML to load faster. because when the page loads, the HTML basically will get loaded by the web browser in the order it appears in the file. If the JavaScript is loaded first and it is supposed to affect the elements below it, it might not work. For example, if I had the script tag above the hello world here, it will not impact on the change I want, because the browser will run the code in the order it was written. So that's one of the reasons of placing the JavaScript right at the bottom, so that the main content of the page loads first before any JavaScript is applied. So that's it for this video. In this video, I showed you how to add JavaScript internally and externally. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.